In the last patch, the developers of Albion Online have blessed the Arcane Staff players. The Frazzle W has been significantly buffed, to the point where it might actually become useful. But is it enough to outshine the good old Enigma Blade? Should you even hustle with the Frazzle?
Given the new Frazzle, Razzle, Frazzle, Dazzle, and give 'em a skill with lots of flash in it, and the reaction will be a rage quit.
The answer is yes and no. Both are viable and have their uses. In my opinion, the devs have done a pretty good job in giving us a meaningful choice. When compared side by side, they reach similar single target damage. Enigma Blade has a slightly higher burst, while Frazzle can reach higher damage over time if followed by subsequent attacks, as it also decreases the target's defenses. Naturally, the main difference comes from their usage. Enigma Blade has a much shorter range, which makes it better in small-scale fights, 1vx and mob clearing. Enigma Blade also provides the blink ability, which provides a short iframe and can help mitigate the lack of mobility that all Arcane Staffs suffer from. Frazzle is better against boss monsters and when kiting, which is the playstyle that the Arcane Staff prefers, at least in solo PvP. Frazzle has a slightly lower cooldown and a much longer range. The range is an important difference because it allows the Arcane user to open the fight with a Frazzle from a safe distance and then kite away. This means that the W is already cooling down at the very beginning of the fight, which means that the number of Ws cast during the fight is higher by usually at least one. Basically you'll get to cast more Frazzles than you get to cast Enigma Blades. Frazzle is also one of the few Arcane spells that isn't a skill shot, so it can never miss, but it can be interrupted. I was testing it the past week and I got to record a few fights, so as usual I will slowly break them down. All of them were done in cheap 5.1 sets. While waiting for this chest to open, I kill all the squirrels around. The little creatures can block my skill shots, and there are weapons like this Heron Spear, which could use the squirrels to gain stacks. I also use this time to think about my battle plan. For example, I know that the Heron Spear will try to stun me with E and then do big damage with W. Counter would be to dodge its E, but that's why they are running this helmet, which cannot be dodged. So I think the combo should be mini stun from helmet, then stun from E, then big damage from W. I can't dodge the helmet, but I can stand outside of its range and poke from a distance. Better yet, I am running a soldier helmet, so instead of dodging their E, I can just block it, which is much easier to execute. I open with Frazzle and block their E. I can only react in time because I'm expecting them to throw it. Now I just poke from a safe distance. I am safe because their E is on a cooldown. As soon as my Frazzle is back, I try to cast it. I don't worry about combining it with other abilities and getting the full value from the decreased defense. I simply want to cast as many Frazzles as possible. Since the cooldown on my helmet is about to finish, I know that the same happens for their E, so again I'm prepared to cast it and block. When they hide in jacket, I become a little bit greedy, but I don't want this chest to glow on minimap and attract rats. So I receive a full W in my face. I use Sticky Potion to counter their jacket. This item has also been buffed by the recent patch, so I'm experimenting with it. It gives a little bit of defense and a little bit of mobility. And now they just try to escape. Demon boots are not best for this matchup, and I should have switched to refreshing sprint. Especially now that this rat dismounts and tries to steal my kill. But still, I'm able to secure it with a Frazzle that cannot miss. Now I space away to get some reset before fighting this Astral Staff. Unfortunately, they have no intention of picking a fair fight and run away as soon as they see my health bar returning. This Dagger Pair is 2 tiers above me. Dagger Pairs try to close the distance with their W and then do big damage with their E. In order to win this, I must not let them do that, so my plan now is to dodge their W. I see that they are at 3 stacks and popping their shoes, so now is the time for them to throw it. I dodge it and I hit them on their way out. Once they start walking towards me, I know that they are about to pop their E, so I activate my helmet to soak it. Now I just eat through their healing, and my next plan is to repeat the whole process. Unfortunately, we get invaded by this rat, which tries to steal my juicy kill. I'm pretty confident I can take care of them, as they just use their E, so now I just have to wait out their defensives, finish them, use the mob to heal from my merc jacket. The mobs don't like this and team up against me. My helmet saves me from the cursed E, all the while I'm getting some serious damage by these mobs. Another mob is hidden behind the UI, and I don't notice until I aggro it.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And of course, I get visited by yet another rodent. Outrunning daggers is difficult, but dodging their Ws would be a good start. Since I didn't do it, I now have to pay the price. Now, I believe that using Enigma Blade is better against builds that you cannot possibly kite from, like Bloodletters or Brawling Gloves. I would very much like to keep my distance from this old meta Bloodletter, especially since they have an IP advantage, but it's just too easy for them to stick on top of me. I use the blink and my cowl to get away from their stalker jacket, but I miss my E, so I still receive some damage from it. Now they want to capitalize on the IP advantage, and that is why they are brawling with me. I pop my mercenary jacket to heal back, and then I try to kite with my royal boots. This blink was a mistake. I pointlessly prolonged my cooldown. They do a pretty good job in dodging my next E, and again they are on top of me and want to brawl. Once they get their next stalker jacket, I know that I'm in deep trouble and that they will want to execute me with their E, so I drink a resistance potion. They are waiting for it to wear down before doing the execute, and I managed to execute them with my Enigma Blade a split second before they got to do the same to me. Next I took it for a spin in Corrupted, where I met with this cheesy crossbow build. I opened with Frazzle to get it on cooldown immediately, and then I kite back, waiting for my next Frazzle. They silence me with their helmet, probably so that I cannot defend against their E, but I can just walk away from the silence. And then just pop my helmet to negate their E completely. I think that one-handed Arcane is better in Corrupted than Witchwork, but the fun thing about Witchwork is that you can pull people into traps, which is much fun, unless you are at the receiving end of this, of course. The last fight will be against dual swords. I poke them with Frazzle and then kite away. Once they pop their boots, I popped mine. I used the Duskweaver helmet for slow, and I juked their W. The moment my Frazzle is back, I immediately press it. They try to dodge it, but you cannot dodge Frazzle. At this point I make a mistake and get a little bit too close. They correctly punish me for it immediately. I use the slow from my E and from my Duskweaver helmet to gain the distance back. I keep spamming Frazzles of cooldown. And now I just simply chase my prey. They ask me to stop, but you can't stop me now, I'm having such a good time. Now I use the sticky potion for the slow. And finally I catch them with one last Spider-Man swoop.